Okay, the informal meeting for City Commission is called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Dr. Estrop?
Here.
Mrs. Houston?
Here.
Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Ripp?
Here. Brian.
Yes, Commissioners, tonight we have one work session item, and with us is representatives that are going to discuss the Tremont City barrel fill site and give us a status update. And with US EPA, we have Adrian Palamecu, Jenny Polster, and then Robert Rule from DeMaximus, and then I see some other guests too that they'll introduce.
Okay, well, good evening. I want to thank you for this opportunity. We just wanted to provide the commission an update on the site, on what we've been working on and what's coming ahead. So thank you very much for that opportunity. And also we have John Privy as well with GHD, and we have Scott Glom from Ohio EPA. And if you'd like to move the first slide, please. So those are our names, pretty much everybody that has introduced themselves so far. And next slide, please.
So what we're going to talk about today is give an update as to the design of Tremont City barrel fill. We are at the 30% design level, so we've submitted the information to US EPA. They're reviewing it. Ohio EPA is reviewing it. 30% is a level at which we're starting to put together the plans, starting to put together some of the flow charts for how we're going to do things, but the actual specifics are not necessarily in place yet. That will come with our next submittal. Site-wide monitoring plan is a program for us to monitor groundwater and groundwater flow contamination from the site. We did one sampling event last November, December. Our plan is to do two more, one this fall, winter, and one in the spring before we actually start construction activities. So those three baseline events give us a good basis for knowing if we're causing issues during the remediation and construction activities. Yes, sir.
Because we have so many people that may be new to this topic, could you or one of the folks from US EPA tell us what the problem is? What's the problem at the Tremont City barrel fill that you're addressing? Why are we concerned about it?
You want me to handle it? So there are roughly 50 waste cells where approximately 51,000 plus drums were buried in the mid-1970s. It's in an unlined facility, so if the drums start rusting, releasing their contents, it may get into drinking water, it may get into other groundwater near and around the site. So what we're doing is taking steps to remove all of those drums, all of the contaminated soil, and make sure that they are put into a proper disposal facility.
And the reason this is so critical for us here in Springfield, as well as people throughout Southwest Ohio, is this barrel fill is very close to the aquifer that we all draw our water from. The drinking water you have in the city, most of the wells of the farm draw from this aquifer. It's what, Bob, a mile and a half or so from the barrel fill as the grove lies. So it's very close, and a number of people, including people for Safe Water, other city commissions before us, have been working for over 40 years to get this problem taken care of. And what you're hearing tonight is a status report. The problem is being taken care of, and the money for it is coming from the people who put the stuff in the barrel fill. They're paying to take it out. Is that a fair assessment?
That is a fair assessment, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So as I said, there are roughly 50 waste cells shown up on the site. Each one contains about 1,000 drums, give or take. Again, there's 51,000 drums buried at the site. So go on. going to be done in two phases, essentially. We're going to start at the north end, start removing the barrels from the ground. We will move them to a different location. We will do a hazard categorization of the material, a HazCat scan of the materials. Then we'll start bulking them like materials so that we don't mix chemicals. But that will allow us, starting from the north, working south, to go ahead and start building into our phase one line cell, put some of the soils back. All of the liquids will be taken off-site and disposed of properly elsewhere or incinerated elsewhere. As I said, we're going to start at the north. This kind of shows the black line inside just the serpentine that we'll use to remediate each of the cells. The cells are roughly 25 to 30 feet deep. So in order for us to get to that depth, we're going to have to angle back our slope. So, what might be a 75-foot wide hole now becomes 200 feet wide because we have to slope back in order to get the equipment down to pick up the drums 25 feet below surface. This is just a depiction of the phase one cell. This is a good shot. It's going to show our flow pattern. As we remove drums, we will take them down to consolidation area. This is where we'll store them temporarily until we can get them over into the material processing. Again, we'll do a HazCat on them, and that way we know that we'll store like drums with like drums, like materials with like materials in that second area. The third area will be for our bulk materials that will be transported off-site. So as we generate liquids from the drums and we bulk them together, they'll go into tanks at this location, and then we'll truck them off-site to another facility for ultimate disposal.
Again, you do this one barrel at a time.
Correct.
So we take a barrel out, and then you have to determine what's in that barrel, because there will be situations where some of the content should not be mixed with contents from another barrel. So each barrel that's pulled out, you will have to examine and determine what it can be mixed with in order to be hauled off site. Is that a simple explanation of
That's a great
highly
explanation.
technical work?
Are you looking for a job?
Well, I may be in about 5 months. Yeah, 5 months. But so
Yes.
this is not going to be a quick process, nor should it be,
Yes, it's
because
not
one
going to
of
be a
our
quick
greatest
process.
concerns is we don't want the cleanup to cause problems and pollute our aquifer. So the idea of taking it slowly, one barrel at a time, becomes critically important, it seems.
It will be one barrel at a time. As we pull the drums out of the ground, they'll be inspected to make sure that they're not leaking. We'll be looking for any markings on the drums. We'll be looking for other information that might be contained somewhere around. But those are the things that we do. We'll be photographing each drum. We'll be pulling the HazCat sample. So it's a very slow process. We're hopeful that on our good days, we'll be able to achieve somewhere about 100 drums a day removed. It's going to be a fairly lengthy process. This is kind of busy, but what it shows is we don't have a pointer. You can see where it says the consolidation cell. The consolidation cell originally was permitted for the drums to go down to an elevation of 1085. So what we're doing is leaving about a 5-foot buffer below that, and we're going to pull all the materials out from that. So anything that might have spilled, we're going to pull it off the bottom of the current cell and make sure that all the waste has been pulled out, and then rebuild the cell with liners and other components.
Yeah, so what this illustrates is the primary components of the liner system. So it's what's referred to as a RCRA subtitle C cell, which is a hazardous waste cell. It has a number of different layers. Kind of it's going from the bottom up. It has both a primary, well, it has a secondary layer on the bottom, which consists of 3 feet thickness of very low permeability clay that'll be installed under very strict specifications. Above that will be a 60 mil layer of high density polyethylene liner. There will then be a leak detection system, the primary high density polyethylene liner, and then a leachate collection system. And then on top of that, there's a 1 foot protective layer of soil to mitigate against any direct materials in contact with the liner system. So in a nutshell, following all the Ohio regulations, exceeding them in certain aspects, but a state-of-the-art cell, constructed with the best materials available. And after everything is placed within the cell, that which remains on site, then there'll be a cap that comes over it, consisting of a series of layers again, beginning with a 12-inch compact subgrade layer, geosynthetic clay liner, another layer of the 60 mil HDPE, a geocomposite drainage layer, and then about 30 inches of soil.
So this is just a short version of the schedule. Don't look at the individual dates. What we were trying to show here is, again, it's a lengthy process. We're going to be pulling drum by drum by drum. There's 51,000 plus of them. So this just kind of lays out that we're going to have probably 3 construction seasons of pulling the drums out before we start closing anything up. Again, the site-wide, you want to jump into this?
Yeah, so one of the obligations under the Superfund program under this site specifically is preparation of a site-wide monitoring plan. What that site-wide monitoring plan does is define, those media that will be sampled prior to the remedial action that Bob's talking about, to create or to identify baseline characteristics of what's currently in the groundwater. As Bob mentioned, there was a sampling event back last fall that positively showed material that the waste was not migrating to groundwater conditions were not worse, but we'll be doing 2 additional events, one this fall, one next spring, to further characterize groundwater prior to the remedial action. And then there'll be events throughout the remedial action to compare against that baseline to make sure that nothing we're doing is impacting groundwater, and that what we're doing is safe and protective. And this just illustrates again, a very busy figure, but the highlighted wells are the wells on site that we will be monitoring as part of the 2 baseline events, as well as throughout the remedial action.
So this was a schedule that we had committed to at the request of Springfield and other core stakeholders to make sure and demonstrate that things are moving forward. And right now, we're on track to complete the remedial design at some point in 2026. So the next step after the 30% design will be getting the 90 to 95% design. We're expecting that to be submitted in December of 2025. Those dates are guided by the consent decree and triggered by approval of the current design that we're presenting onto you. You might be wondering why this is taking so long, but after any of these documents are presented to US EPA, we have a team of experts looking at. We have hydrogeologists, geologists, design engineers. Ohio EPA also has a team of experts looking at all of these documents too. So it's coordinating all the comments, making sure we understand that and talking about them with the responsible party group before finalizing the document. So there's a lot of people looking at this, but
So it's also a lot of information. Our 30% design was about 2,100 pages, including drawings and supplemental plans. There's a lot of information for folks to do.
yeah, all the different steps between the characterization of the barrels versus what is the design of the landfill. There'll be air perimeter monitoring. What do you do in terms of, if there's a release from the site, how would emergency responders come look at this? Which sites or which roads are we going to take to transport waste off site? So there's a lot of different moving components, to make sure that this is done successfully. So right now, yeah, we're on track. Things are moving forward, and we're hoping to have design start late 2026. But we will be out here again presenting the final 90, 95%, and 100% design early in 2026.
Are, based on this schedule, Jenny, are you anticipating, Bob, spades in the ground in 26?
I would say the goal would be to be at some point later in 2026, but, it could also be, early 2027. I'd say let's keep that as the goal right now. We are keeping things moving forward.
Right. That's the goal. And I don't want to push it because it's more important that we do it right and take our time. And we know, based on what information you have shared with us and what people for Safe Water have shared with us, is this is a very complex problem. It's not a problem that's easily solved. We're talking 51,000 barrels and taking them out one at a time and not knowing for sure what may be in there. And my guess is that some of the barrels may not even come out in one piece. They've been in the ground for a long time. So I appreciate the fact that you are taking your time, being very thoughtful, looking at all the potential issues that are before us. Do it and do it right. And as soon as possible. But no, you guys have been great. They met earlier today with the stakeholders group, shared more technical information with the group, and the communications has been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you very, very much.
I was curious, what the cost to the responsible parties, what's the scope, and how much is this estimated cost to those responsible for the film?
The consent decree has a little over $27 million. That was done those costs were done early on. We're probably well above that.
Sure.
Don't have the exact amount. We're well above.
These are for the responsible parties, not for the city of Springfield.
There's no tax dollars
Sure.
involved.
Yeah.
These are responsible party dollars.
Excellent. Thank you. I want to commend Dr. Estrop here, who has really taken the baton from the 40-year baton. I mean, Larry Ricketts and you and the whole group that you all represent to continue to push this forward and get it to this place. So really appreciate you pushing forward on this and getting the EPA and everybody to this place together. I know they want to get this done, but I just thank you for making this alive again.
Happy to do it, honored to do it. We've been working with some good folks. I do want to mention, because you mentioned, this carries behind it the weight of a federal court order. So there is no question this will get done. It's a matter of record in the federal court. The judge has ordered it. The principal responsible parties have agreed to it, and we're now going forward with it. So again, my thanks, and we look forward to continuing to work with you and get this project completed.
Other comments from commissioners?
Yes. Curious to know, just for the folks that live in that area, what are the operating hours and how many folks are going to be on site in those work shifts?
Operating hours would be probably daylight.
Okay.
any night. Because, well, um, it's possible we're going to have 35, 50 people on site doing different. There will be folks monitoring air, pulling drums out that our work is safe, making sure nothing leaving the site. There'll be people doing the hazmat testing of the drums. There'll be people doing bulking of the materials, figured out. There'll be a lot of.
Can you expand upon the safety prevention things that you're working on to keep the people working there safe?
So there's two components to safety. Safety is primary for what we're doing. We want to make sure that everybody leaves the same way that they come in the morning. But we also want to make sure that all of the surrounding property owners have the same benefit. So we'll be doing perimeter air monitoring, sure nothing that we're doing impact air that leaves that airspace, so to speak. We'll be doing monitoring at the drum source, make sure that our workers are safe. We'll be testing the materials so that we know what is going off-site, different facilities. There'll be lots of safety activities. Doing daily safety folks. We will have first responder briefings on a routine basis. Started doing that as we were doing sampling a year ago. We had them up, show them where we were working, under what circumstances they might emerge should one occur. We'll continue to.
Thank you.
Dr. Estrop?
I think it's important also, Bob, to mention the site is not open to the general public. Please stay away from the site, particularly when the work begins, because there are hazardous materials here, and we don't want anyone to run afoul of that. So the site will be closed, and the general public will not have access to it.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all your hard work. We appreciate you.
For the
Thank
time.
you.
All right, is there a
Thank
motion
you.
to conclude the work session?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.